And we are live. Welcome back to Savages in the Bronx. It's May the 24th, 2021. Whoa. I'm your host, Rich Rivera, being joined by Tom Wospil, of course. And it's another show, episode number 11. As we get into it, talk more Yankees. Tom, how you doing? The theme's still going on my end.
The theme is still going, but let's keep it rolling. We're doing pretty good. Pretty solid weekend. It's hot. Got some yard work done. Play a little golf, of course, and watch a lot of winning baseball, which makes it more fun.
It's been lovely, to say the least, and we'll get into it more next week when we do our monthly 9 Up, 9 Down segment here on Savages. But honestly, I fucking love what I'm seeing for this Yankee team right now. Playing great ball. That American League East couldn't have been any closer. And a month ago, we were crapping on this team, Tom, for all their bad play, and they've seemed to turn it around on every side of the ball. It's great.
Yeah, I mean, last month I know we were putting together our rankings. It was like, all right, well, we feel good about Gio, and everyone else is bad. It was like Gio, I guess, is number one, and then everyone else is tied for last. This time, I think it's almost be the opposite. It's gonna be like there's maybe one or two things we don't feel good about, and everything else we probably feel pretty confident in. So I think it's gonna be a fun time ranking them.
Absolutely, and we'll get into it more. Thanks for joining us again on Savage in the Bronx. This is episode number 11. We're obviously live from Studio 54 in New Jersey on the right side of your screen. On the left side, I'm live from Staten Island. We're airing exclusively on Twitch and powered by StreamYard. Corey Kluber, Tom, threw a no-hitter the last time we had a show. And, of course, it sucked when things like this happens and we don't have a show to cover it on until Monday, which is why I got on Twitch the other day, did an extra innings episode, something that Tom and I are going to do moving forward for post-game reactions on big games, maybe some playoff games, also big trades, signings, trade deadlines coming around the corner. If there's a big trade and it's middle of the week, we don't have a show to report on it, we'll do it right then and there. So extra innings, we'll keep you guys posted on it on Twitter if you follow us at Savages Bronx. But let's get into it more. Corey Kluber throwing a no-hitter, the 12th in Yankees history and the first since David Cohn's perfect game in 1999.
It's crazy. It's been that long since the Yankees have thrown a no-hitter. I was thinking about that as it was going on. I'm like, it's been a long time. It's been since a young Tom Wospil was in Yankee Stadium to witness David Cohn throw that perfect game. Also funny with that game is I was exhausted that night, and as I'm watching it, I'm like, all right, well, once he gives up a hit, I'm just gonna go to bed because I'm tired. I'll see what happened in the morning, and it just kept going. And I was like, I guess I'm not going to sleep anytime soon. A lot of fun. Kluber broke a smile for a little bit, which was nice.
Wild.
I know
that might have been the story of the whole game. Seeing his teeth, it was amazing.
Yeah. But cool, good for Kluber. He had such a long road back from all the injuries and some unlucky injuries for sure. So it's good for him. Hopefully he'll build his confidence up, really make him that bona fide number 2 in our rotation. Just to almost preview our rankings next week. If he's pitching like this behind Cole, that is a 1-2 in the playoffs that you can feel very good about.
And I spoke on this in our extra inning clip, which was on Thursday. I was like, hey, this team, I feel like is getting more than their return on investment for somebody who is costing them a year and $11 million. And someone who during this offseason, Yankee fans were like, well, why are we signing this guy who's only pitched so few innings over the last couple of years and not re-sign a guy like Masahiro Tanaka, who's been a gamer for us since we signed the guy? Like, that's almost like a wasted move. Why do we do that? And this is kind of the reason why. Corey Kluber is a big game pitcher. And if healthy, this could be the biggest reclamation project in baseball. And clearly it's working out. I mean, this is back-to-back weeks of player of the week. I mean, Corey Kluber has done it. He's done a great job for this team, more than what we've asked for, more than what we've hoped for. And this is great because now he has solidified himself as a bona fide number 2 in a rotation that has been on point over the last couple of weeks.
Absolutely. Feeling good about him for sure.
Feeling great about it. So congrats to Corey Kluber once again. And you can also make sure to follow us on YouTube because Savages Bronx has been on YouTube for a few weeks now. You can check out all our episodes. And I just mentioned extra innings, but you can check out our extra inning clips up there when we do get them uploaded. in the moment, obviously. And our best of clips as well are also on our YouTube page. But we always start our show off with Bronx is burning, which, obviously the Bronx is not really burning, but we always have some news to talk about.
It's hot. I mean, and it was cooler today, but it was burning this weekend. It was very warm.
I was at the game on Saturday, humid as hell. I was like, I couldn't believe it because it just seems like in New York now, at least for the last few years that I can just at least remember, it goes from just winter to like early spring to summer. Like there's no smooth transition anymore in weather. It was like 90 plus degrees, sweating my ass off. It was gross, but I was happy to be back in the Bronx for my first game at the stadium. And I would love to talk about it more, but we just don't have that time. But we do have time to talk about Aaron Hicks, who went on the 10-day IL last week. We did report that on Savages, but we didn't know the severity of his injury. Marley Rivera reported he could be out for a week. He could be out for 2 weeks. He could be out for a month. He could be out for the rest of the year. It's seemingly like he's going to be out for the rest of the year as he underwent surgery to repair the torn tendon sheath in his left wrist. Aaron Hicks potentially out for the season. Big loss for the Yankees, but how did the Yankees move forward with this center field position now?
Yeah, and a little behind the curtain here. Rich and I were talking before of potential trades, like who could be out there with the expanded playoffs and the draft move back now. The time for trades are going to be very, very small in that kind of mid to late July timeframe. There's going to be more teams in it, so there's going to be less sellers. So finding center fielders was not easy, or even finding good outfielders on teams that were going to be sellers. So we'll see what the Yankees could do. We got the guard dog out there right now. I think you all know I'm a big Guardy fan.
Huge guy.
He's not an option. I don't want him starting an extra. Another, how many more games we got left? Over 100 games like that. We can't have that. I think he's a good bench player, good role player, but we need something else out there, I think. And it's going to be interesting to see what Cashman can do with who's available and how much they're willing to spend, because that's also a huge factor in any trade the Yankees may look at doing.
Do you think Cash is kicking himself for trading Mike Tauchman?
I mean, hindsight's 2020. It's like, yes, but at the time there was no room for Tauchman. I think he was out of options, right? So they had nothing they could do with Tauchman. They had to move him. They had to cut him or trade him. So I think they did what they had to do. I'm sure they would like to have him now, but you can't know that back then. And
I keep saying, big Tauchman support over here. I'm happy for him. He's getting the playing time he deserves in San Francisco, that have had a surprisingly good start to their 2021 season. Although the Padres, I think, just took the West. The Dodgers are going to be the Dodgers eventually. But for what it's worth, he's done well for the Giants. Good for Mike. So hopefully it works out for him out there. But for the Yankees, there's a lot of guys that they could potentially look at. I know, obviously, off the rip, Joey Gallo is a big name that people are throwing around out there. Personally, not a fan. Hopefully they avoid him. David Peralta, another name thrown out there. Very underrated in his career and a guy that I would consider, but he's a 33-year-old outfielder, so let's see if they want. But he's a lefty bat, which is very valuable. I think the Yankees pursue somebody who can either play center or left-handed hitter. I think they'll be in good shape, and I think that's going to be the eventual move they're going to have to make when the trade deadline looms closer. But last bit, sorry to interrupt you, Tom. I know, go for it, Tom. My bad.
I was just going to say, no, I think Peralta is a good option. He is older. I think he has one more year left on his deal, so he's not going to cost a ton in prospect capital. Other guys, his teammate, Ketel Marte, he's younger. Ketel, sure.
Ketel?
Ketel. Listen, he was a mainstay on my one fantasy team for a while. Really appreciate what he did for the squad. But he's going to cost a lot. He's younger. They have some team control years with him. That's not going to be let's just trade some cash considerations and a funnel cake. We're going to need to give something really up to get him. So, they've been linked to the Shields with Texas, who, again, that'd be like almost like getting Odor. Again, it's like, all right, this is fine, but this isn't, I don't feel good about you in the playoffs. So
I'll take a fucking funnel cake. I mean, that was my only take out of that. I would take a funnel cake. It was like a fucking Seaside Heights funnel cake, like a San Gennaro Feast funnel cake.
Oh
man, that's some
strawberries
good stuff
on top, maybe a little chocolate.
Drizzle? No, just
plain.
No, not at all.
Well, we'll learn to live.
Upcoming schedule for the Yankees. They are facing the Blue Jays starting tomorrow. We got the benefit of the off day today, so we had a show without a game, which is good. They got Toronto for a big series in the Bronx. Then they're going to Detroit for a 3-game set over the weekend. And then, very oddly, coming back home to face Tampa for a 4-game set. So huge American League East matchups for the Yanks. Hopefully they could pull a little further away in this American League East that's so tight between 4 teams right now. We'll get into that and more on the State of the Yankees when we bring out our guests very shortly. But you can continue to follow us on Twitter at Savages Bronx. You can follow Tom at
Wospil54.
And you can follow me at Rich J. Rivera. But more importantly, you can follow our +1 at Jake Montgomery. But however, that first O is a 0. So it's actually like Jake M0 Montgomery. But whatever. Our guest is no 0. But in fact, he is a New York native who graduated from Adelphi University, worked in promotions with CBS Radio, and then took his talents over to ESPN 98.7 FM radio to work as a producer. Recently, his Twitter page, which again, I definitely recommend you guys following. He's got over 8,000 followers. He added a few more after tweeting out a very ingenious question that had sports Twitter buzzing. And we're going to get that in a few, but he's a huge Yankee fan, not related to, neither is Jordan Montgomery, and he'll tell you himself. Ladies and gentlemen, Jake Montgomery joins us on Savages in the Bronx. What's up, Jake?
How's it going? Well, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that, but I do appreciate the kind words, and it's always good to see you, Rich. Good to see you, Tom, as well. So I'm excited to talk some Yankees baseball.
Of course, man. It's been a long time coming. Jake and I used to work back in the day together, so it's great to see you here. But let's start with what I just ended off with. You know, I've been following Jake for a long time now on Twitter, and it's just so funny to see Yankee fans continuously confuse him as the Yankee starting pitcher, Jordan Montgomery. So, Jake, I got to ask you, what do you think it's going to take for these fans to get the memo that you're not pitching for the team?
I don't know. After Jordan Montgomery has a good start, I usually have a few people tweet at me saying, like, good job, kid, keep it up. If Jordan Montgomery has a bad outing, I get some people, cursing at me, telling me to get my shit together. So, it all depends on Jordan Montgomery, but I've made a joke out of it on Twitter saying, I am not Jordan Montgomery. I'm Jake Montgomery, but you know how people on Twitter are. Some are not too bright. So,
no.
Yeah.
We got 2 of them right here.
Yeah. So I am not Jordan Montgomery, but I am a big fan of Jordan Montgomery and the Yankees. So
clearly. You must have had some good tweets over the he pitched Friday night? Yeah, that was Friday night or Saturday, right?
So the deal is now that so many people have mixed us up, I have a lot of people jokingly saying, like, good job out there. Like, they know who I am, but now they just love the running joke. I've had a few people DM me, like, this Jordan Montgomery stuff is making me laugh so much. So if I could bring a few laughs to some Yankee fans, then I think I'm doing my job. So it's all good.
And Jake was in the house for Jordan start on Friday and probably had the best game of the season in the Bronx, too. That was awesome.
So I've been to 2 Yankees games this year. The first one was Garrett Cole against the Tigers, where he completely dominated them. And then the Yankees, I think, hit 5 or 6 home runs in that game, including a Judge grand slam. So that was a great first game. And then the game I went to on Friday, I saw the triple play in person. How many triple plays have you seen, in your life in general? I don't even think I can have a full hand. So to see one in person like that, the emotions that I had, the bottom of the 8th inning, they had runners on first and third, no outs. They don't score a run. Then they have first and second for the White Sox in the top of the 9th, and then a triple play. It was up and down, but this Yankees team is clicking, and you can kind of see this is such a weekly sport, like if they have one bad week, the Bronx is burning and everyone thinks that the season is over, but they win 6 in a row, and all of a sudden, the World Series number 28 is coming back to the Bronx. So it has been a very good stretch. They do have a tough week, like you mentioned. They have the Blue Jays and the Rays. It was nice to see them, beat some good teams in the Astros and White Sox. But I think this is the time where they really need to go out. They took the series against the Rays in Tampa Bay last time, but we all know Tampa Bay has really had our number. So it would be really nice, keep winning series. I think they're 8-0-2 in their last 10 series.
Mm-hmm.
So if they can, take 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays and then win another series against the Rays, it would be really nice to keep that momentum going.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we have the AL East standings up here, and it's, that is as close as it could possibly get. And I know it's a little early shooting this off in May because anything can change from here to a month from now to 2 months from now. So, yes, great points on the team. But I got to ask you, what's going to keep this team together, more importantly, so they stay towards the top of the American League East?
Well, the starting pitching has been great. Obviously, I think they're 35 or 36 scoreless innings in a row, something like that. So you can't expect the starting pitching to really keep this up. You're going to need the offense to really, get to that level where we expect them to get to. Glaber has certainly picked it up. There's been a lot of injuries, as we mentioned. I do think I could not agree with you more with the trade destination people. Joey Gallo is a good baseball player, but I feel like even though he is a lefty, I feel like he's a very similar player to the rest of the team where it's home run or strikeout. Peralta, I think, would be a solid pickup, but I don't expect Cashman to really go for a big home run type pickup. If he did pick someone up, it might be a DeShields kind of player, which might be an under-the-radar kind of guy to come in. But I do think he likes Andujar. I do think he thinks Clint Frazier is going to turn it around. Brett Gardner has been reliable throughout his whole career. So I don't expect any big moves in the outfield coming. But I do think if the Yankees want to keep this up, I think they're going to have to, the offense is they're going to have to be savages in the box. So we haven't really seen that to the full maximum yet, but I do think slowly but surely they are turning things around.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun summer. The AL East is back, I think, really to its heyday. It's the best, it's the most competitive division in the sport. 4 of the 5 teams have a positive run differential. I think overall is the highest run differential of any division. So you even see a team like the White Sox come in, best team in the AL, and not that the Yankees crushed them, but they handle their business. I think the AL East is going to be tough, and they're going to have to improve somewhere out there, Jake. So other than, we talked a little bit about center field, is there any other positions you think the Yankees need to make some improvements on?
To be honest with you, not really. I think, the classic Cashman line, we're going to trade for Luis Severino and Zach Britton. He considers those guys big additions, which they are. So he has a solid point there. It'll be interesting to see what they do with Severino. I do think they're going to ease him back into the rotation. And these 5 guys that have been pitching in the rotation, as we mentioned, as of late, have been spectacular. So who would come out of the rotation right now? Would it be my fellow Jordan Montgomery? But I do think they like having a lefty in that rotation. I don't think it would be Herman. He's been pitching great as well. It would probably be, if they had to take one guy out of the rotation, Taillon. And I don't think that's happening. And Taillon, he hasn't been consistent, but he has showed flashes of having, really good stuff. I think it's more so he needs to be more consistent to really show people that he can do it for the long haul. But I don't think there's really any other additions besides maybe an outfielder or another lefty bat. But besides that, I think they have enough to, to win another championship. So it's been a long time. I know it hasn't been a really long time, but for Yankees fans, it's been a long time. So
2 years is a long time for a Yankee fan.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the idea of Severino, I think, just translates so well to the bullpen for a year. If he can empty the tank in 1 inning, he's gonna be throwing 100, and then the filthy slider. He would be a nightmare to face in 1 inning. Just to add, risk your richer in the bullpen. So I agree with you there.
Yeah, right now they have Loizica in the 8th and Chad Green in the 7th. Once Zach Britton comes back, and if they do put Severino in the bullpen, all of a sudden you got like Loizica and Green coming out in the 5th and the 6th. I mean, that makes a huge difference. O'Day was great until he got injured as well. Another solid pickup. So I think they'll be okay. And I think the Yankees, their mindset the last few years has been, not stay afloat, but get into the playoffs. And then they think if they're fully healthy that they can beat anyone. Obviously, they've come a little short the last few years, but I'm a believer that, a few pitches go a different way, a few at-bats go another way. they're right there in the World Series or winning the World Series. So I do think that they have enough right now to get number 28.
And that's a great confidence boost for Yankee fans all around. And it's been a great season so far. We're looking forward to more. And obviously, if you're just joining us on Twitch, we are here with Jake Montgomery of ESPN Radio. And Jake, let's shift the focus on you, sir. Formerly with CBS, now with ESPN. What has been the biggest takeaway for you to be in such a competitive industry, doing this with two of the biggest media giants in New York? Some takeaways it being in radio.
Well, I've been lucky and blessed to have worked with two great companies. As you just mentioned, I was with WFAN with you at CBS I was there for 5 years, and then I went over to ESPN for the last 3 years. I've had great experiences working with both. I've been able to meet some of my favorite athletes. Derek Jeter, I've met a lot of the Yankees playing right now. So I've been lucky to say that I do something that I love every day, which I think is a big thing in life. I think, no matter what the money is, you want to do something that you truly enjoy doing, and that makes it kind of worth it. I've been able to meet a lot of great people along the way, including yourself. I got to meet Tom tonight. He seems like a pretty cool dude. So
he's okay.
Looks to me deceiving.
Yeah, maybe if the interview keeds going, I might change. No, I'm just kidding. But it's been a great experience working for WFAN and ESPN, and working with Michael Kay now. That's someone I grew up idolizing and watching every Yankees game, hearing him call the games, and now he's my coworker. Call or text away. It's pretty cool. It's pretty surreal sometimes, but I love the industry. I love sports. I love baseball. So working for ESPN the last few years has been great.
Yeah.
Any? Go on, Rich.
No, go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say, you got any fun Caster stories to share? I'm a big fan of TMKS. I do listen a lot. Love Don. Love Peter. Love the Caster. So any kind of fun behind the scene things you could share?
One, he's very tall. I don't know if you guys know that. He is a lot taller than he comes off. Yes. He's a big dude.
He's a monster.
But one story that I like to tell is my older sister last year got married. They kind of wanted to hold off because of COVID and everything, but they were engaged for a while and they had the date set before COVID. So they ended up getting married last year. However, a lot of people, like my 92-year-old grandmother on the West Coast, couldn't fly in or attend the wedding because of all the restrictions and everything. So I wanted to do something for my sister to kind of make her wedding day a little special. So I put together a video of, a lot of people who weren't able to make it, just reaching out and wishing them a happy wedding day. Her husband is a big Yankees, Jets, Knicks, and Islanders fan. So I reached out to Michael Kay, DiPietro, Alan Hahn, and Bart Scott. And within a few days, they all sent me back a really nice video for them. I got to add it into the video. And that kind of just shows not just Michael Kay, but some of the guys that I work with, how good of, human beings they are. They didn't have to really do that for me. There is Cameo now where people get charged to do stuff like that. But within a couple of days with their busy schedules, they all sent back, a minute-long video wishing my sister, who they never even met, like a happy wedding day. So Kay is a really good dude. The way he comes off genuinely during the Yankees broadcast is kind of the same guy that he is in person. And I think that's why he's been so successful, and so many Yankees fans consider him the voice of the Yankees, because he is a genuinely, good person who enjoys watching the Yankees. So that would be like my little K behind the scenes, just to show that, he's a good dude, and I'm happy I get to call him a coworker.
And there you go, Yankee fans. Confirm a rumor right here on Savage in the Bronx. Michael Kay is a good dude. Michael Kay is a dude, and we love to hear
rumors are confirmed. Yes, he is a great dude. So yes,
Michael Kay is a guy, man. Michael Kay is a guy. We like to hear that.
I got to work a lot with Don too. Just going to that, because
Don.
I've been working. I've been producing either every Rangers or Islanders game for the last few months. I've watched more hockey these last few months than I have my entire life previous to that. So getting to work with Don, who does usually the pre and post game for ESPN for the Rangers, he does sometimes the play-by-play as well. Just the way that the studios work out with COVID, they're not going to the away stadiums. They're doing it from our studios in the city. So getting to work with him and, Kenny Albert, just a lot of great people. Ed Cohen for the Knicks. It's been even though this last year and a half has been, unfortunate and a lot of bad things have happened, I'm grateful to say that, everyone I know has been pretty healthy, and I've gotten to continue this path of trying to reach my goals and on this career. So I've been blessed to keep this journey going.
Yeah, and we love to hear it. We love to hear it, especially coming from that industry too. It's amazing to hear, just because how competitive it is, and how many people could just give up on that dream so easily, depending on what situation happens. So it's amazing to hear that, Jake, going strong here. But hey, we have to talk about the tweet. I told you we were going to talk about it. We had to get into it because, listen, it was April 15, 2021. Jake tweeted this thing out right here. Let's take a look. You can pick one athlete ever to have an injury-free career from beginning to end. Who are you choosing? Now, if you're seeing those numbers at the bottom of the tweet, those are real. 17,000 replies, 22,000 retweets, 11,000 likes. Jake, this question is absolutely incredible. Even had ESPN picking it up. This is on their Instagram page. ESPN even Instagrammed this out. I know they turned it, but they Instagrammed it, and there it is. So, Jake, fantastic question. How did you come up with just asking this to your followers, and what kind of response were you expecting?
Well, let me start off by saying when I tweeted it out, I obviously never expected it to blow up the way it did. It is a pretty simple question. I guess a lot of people the next day when it kind of blew up and went viral were saying how genius of a question it is. And you follow me on Twitter. I usually do ask a lot of different type of sports questions, none that have went viral the way that this did. But I actually was talking to a few buddies of mine that night, and we were saying how wouldn't it be great if, Judge and Stanton just were never hurt. So we were saying it would be pretty crazy if these guys were able to stay healthy their whole career. And then we kind of started talking about how injuries have kind of played such a big part on different people's careers throughout the history of sports. So I tweeted it out. All of a sudden, that night, it started to get, hundreds and thousands of responses. The next morning, the program director of ESPN calls me, and he's like, man, I don't know if you saw this, but your tweet has absolutely blown up. Some of the biggest names throughout sports in our business answered it. Bo Jackson was a big name. Some of these people in the tweets ended up trending across the United States. Bo Jackson answered the tweet. Just a surreal day. I think out of I've had a lot of great days in this industry. I would say that would probably be close to the top. Just the recognition. They did talk about me on the Michael Kay show. Bart, Scott, and Alan Hahn, their show, they talked about it. Radio shows throughout I had people, throughout the country telling me, I have a buddy in Washington, D.C., and he's like, you're the topic of conversation in Washington, D.C. this morning. And it was just, surreal. There were, I guess, looking back on it, it is a great question because there are so many different people that have been affected by injury, and you can kind of go two different ways with it. You could go with someone, for example, like Ken Griffey Jr., who had such a great career already, but if he was never hurt, he might have ended up being even greater or perhaps the greatest of all time. Or you can go the complete opposite direction and pick someone that had their career completely derailed before it started. Greg Oden, someone that comes to mind. Guys like that had such great expectations, and then you never know what would happen because injuries kind of just took them completely off course. So there were a lot of different great options. A lot of Yankees were mentioned as well. I have a big Yankee following on Twitter, so that's kind of how it started. A lot of people were responding Yankees, and then it started to expand into all different sports, hockey players. So just a surreal day for sure.
So let's answer the question then. You just mentioned a lot of people said a lot of Yankees. This is Savage in the Bronx, so let's Yankee-fy this question. So you could pick one Yankee ever to have an injury-free career from beginning to end. Who are you choosing, Jake?
That's a hard one. Obviously, as we just mentioned, there are a lot of great athletes, including Yankees, that have had injuries play a big part in their careers. Selfishly, however, since I wasn't alive for some of the main ones, Michael Kay chose Don Mattingly on his show, which is my mom's. There he is, Donnie Baseball. That's my mom's favorite player. So that was the answer that my mom chose as well when she answered the question. I know this sounds selfish, but since I'm getting to choose the player, I wasn't really alive for Don Mattingly's career. I might have been, a little baby for the end of it. So I would probably go Aaron Judge. I know it sounds crazy, but there you go. Aaron Judge. I think that's my guy. When he plays, I truthfully believe that he's a top 5 player in the league. And I know I'm kind of biased. I'm a Yankees fan, but I think when he's out there, I think he shows that he's the best player on the field every night he goes out there. And when you asked me to pick a Yankee, Stanton came to my mind as well, just because, the Yankees have him until 2027, 2028, and his body's already kind of breaking down. But if I would be cool with, either Judge or Stanton being the answer, because that's kind of who we're watching right now. And if they can stay healthy, I think the Yankees have a really good shot of winning another World Series.
I love the answer as far as active players concerned, definitely. And obviously, if I'm looking in the Twitch chat right now, please answer the question at the bottom of the ticker right there. If you can pick any Yankee to have an injury-free career from beginning to end, who are you choosing? Tom, who are you choosing?
So I kind of went the route that Jake had mentioned as a great player who could have been greater, and I went with Mickey Mantle. Honestly, Mickey Mantle at the ripe age of 19 broke into the majors with the Yankees. Absolutely demolished his knee in the World Series. He recovered pretty well from that, but injuries really did. It's funny, it didn't derail his career because he's a Hall of Famer. But if he hadn't had all the injuries he had, he'd be in that room of the rooms of the MVP of the Hall of Fame. He could have been the greatest player of all time, even with all the injuries. Hit over 500 home runs, won the Triple Crown, 3 MVPs. It's kind of crazy to think what he could have been had he stayed healthy his entire career.
I do have a confession to make. So I had a lot of Yankee fans get on me on Twitter when I said this, but I actually watched the movie 61, which is a great movie directed by. I watched that for the first time a couple of months ago. So I had a lot of Yankees fans saying, what took you so long? Like, why didn't you watch it earlier? I know I was late to the party, but I'm glad I finally showed up because it is a phenomenal movie. And I know obviously it isn't the real Mickey Mantle, but I do think that Billy Crystal did a great job of kind of portraying the lives that him and Maris lived, and just watching the injuries that Mantle had, and he still never wanted to come out of the lineup ever. I think that's a great answer, Tom, because if he was fully healthy, I think you could argue he could have had the best career ever out of any baseball player. He's certainly one of the most talented. The Yankees' young prospect, Jason Dominguez, I know it's really hard to compare someone to that, but a lot of people are saying, the comparisons are Mickey Mantle and Mike Trout. And those are 2 great guys to be compared to. And I think it just shows not only how highly the expectations are for Dominguez, but I also think it shows how great Mickey Mantle really is being compared with Trout and vice versa. So I think it's a great answer, Tom.
Yeah, and injury list, you're talking about potentially the greatest career in baseball history if Mantle went his whole career without an injury. And it's crazy because with the injuries, he had still one of the greatest careers of all time for a baseball player. It is wild. I will get to my pick. My pick is an interesting one. My pick is Chien-Ming Wang. I wanted to change it up here. Listen, Wang in 2006, 3.63 ERA, not really attractive nowadays, but in the mid-2000s, steroid era was nice. 19-6 then, 2007, 19-7, 3.70. He was the ace of the staff then, and then a turnaround third base in the then National League, Houston National, Minute Maid Park. Done. His legacy, done. I mean, I would have loved to have seen what Wang would have had left in the tank if he would have stayed healthy, if he would have contributed towards that 2009 World Series championship in a full season. Obviously, he was part of the team, but he wasn't part of that postseason rotation. Would the Yankees even made a move for a guy like CeCe Sabathia or A.J. Burnett in that offseason if Wang stayed healthy? I don't know, but I'm just curious to see what it is. Yeah, obviously, looking at the numbers, Wong doesn't have the most majestic career, even if he was healthy. But it's an interesting one, to say the least. I wanted to change it up there because obviously,
he was having he was very good in the beginning. He was getting Cy Young votes some of those seasons. Who knows how he would have progressed? He could have become, a guy who could have, won a Cy Young at some point or been the top of rotation guy on a World Series team. His injury just absolutely just derailed his entire career. It was a real shame.
I think one suggestion.
I was going to say, I think that's just a perfect example of why I think this question really blew up on Twitter, because you really can pick so many different people. If you have the choice of one athlete, there are so many different people and athletes that you could choose from. And we're just talking about, one team. Like that, we're just talking about the Yankees. That there were people answering, from Europe about soccer players that I've never heard of. So there are a lot of athletes that have unfortunately dealt with injuries throughout their career, including Rich's guy, Chien-Ming Wang. So, yeah, it's definitely I'll give you an A for effort on that one for sure. But I do respect a good Chien-Ming Wang answer right there.
I do love me some number 40, Chien-Ming Wang. Well, you know what else I do love me some of? Sincerely Allie Studio, our great sponsor of the show. Since 2020, Sincerely Allie has been doing a great job customizing coffee mugs and scented candles and wine glasses. And, Tom, Jake, this Yankee team has been doing great. And honestly, they have so much fire right now that I expect this team in the postseason to be kissing champagne bottles, which is funny because Allie's candle one of her candles is named Champagne Kisses. So it's the perfect scent that's going to make you walk over to her Etsy page, which is at Sincerely Allie Studio at the bottom of the ticker. And also, you can check her out on Instagram at sincerely.allie, and that's with 2 E's for all your self-care needs. Sincerely Allie, and our great sponsor of the show. And if, of course, you're just joining us, we got Jake Montgomery here of 98.7 ESPN Radio. You can follow him at Jake Montgomery. He likes to stump you with that handle because he has a 0 at the first O.
Do you want me to? Okay, so the person who has Jake Montgomery on Twitter has
hate that guy.
Yeah, I hate him as well. Trust me. He has 0 followers and he's following 4 people and he hasn't tweeted or liked anything ever. So I've been trying to get in contact with him, but since he doesn't follow me and I don't follow him, I can't DM him. I've reached out to Twitter to say, can we do something about this? Because, I want to continue my career. I do have a pretty big following on Twitter. I want to get that switched because even the day, the big tweet went viral, it was kind of annoying to hear, Alan Hahn, and just the same way you did, say it's a 0 as an O. But if you do type in Jake Montgomery on Twitter without the @ I am usually the first name to pop up. So there is that. But if for some reason the person who has the handle at Jake Montgomery is listening to this podcast right now, please talk to me. I will pay you money to give me that handle. I will do whatever it takes, but it is very unfortunate for sure.
And that's Jake Montgomery asking for that, not this guy. This guy pitches for the Yankees. This guy unfortunately does not.
Imagine it's him. Imagine that's his burner account, and that's like his last laugh that he has that handle.
Unbelievable.
I would have to fight Duncan.
I would love that. That's great. But hey, so fake Jake Montgomery, give Jake his proper Twitter handle. But Tom, give us a ball because it's time for Guess the Graph. As we always do on the show with our guests, Tom has a collection of autographed baseballs, which you can see on over his right shoulder. And he's going to show off one of those autograph balls, and Jake and the Twitch followers and listeners and viewers and myself, because I really didn't get a good chance to look at this ball, are going to take a guess at what autograph, whose autograph this belongs to. So, without further ado, here's our ball.
All right. So, can we try to break it down a little bit?
Yeah.
I mean,
I'll have
that first letter an A?
There's clearly an A there. Yes, it's definitely the first name is A, and then whatever that last name is, it doesn't look like a long last name. It looks like a 4 or 5 letter name. So A, 5-letter last name. The first person that came to my mind, which I don't think it is, would be like Andrew Jones, something like that. That's what came to my mind.
would be a good guess. It is not Andrew Jones. That is an A, though. I will give you guys that. That is an A.
Was he an Andrew Jones teammate?
No.
Did he play for him?
Are all these autographs Yankees, or they're just baseball?
Actually, was he an Andrew Jones?
Jake, to answer your question, not every one of them are Yankee players, but they have some sort of affiliation to the team.
Okay, cool.
What year did Andrew Jones play for the Yankees?
He was like, what, 2012, 13-ish?
Okay, no, he is not Andrew Jones' teammate. No.
Oof.
I'm going to take a guess. I'm going to say it's Kutch, Andrew McCutchen.
It's not Andrew McCutchen. Not Andrew McCutchen. This is a so there's so many good clues to give about this guy. He had 2 stints with the Yankees. Two different stints.
I mean, if you said 3, I would have probably said Adam Warren. He's had a lot.
Adam Warren. It's not Adam Warren.
Any guesses from our Twitch viewers? This is tough, Tom, and it looks like a pretty easy thing. I'm gonna feel like a fool once you give it to us, but
it looks like the second letter is a U. That's what I got.
It is not a U. So 2 stints with the Yankees. He I don't know if this. We'll give you this one. He made his major league debut with the Yankees, and he played his last game as a Yankee.
Wow.
Well, now I'm feeling like a bad Yankees fan for not knowing this.
First and last.
First and last.
How many teams did he have in between?
He had three other teams, all of which you would, 2 of which you definitely would associate this man more with.
Oh man,
is it Alfonso Soriano?
It is not, but I wish I had him on the wall because I love Alfonso Soriano.
Wow, that's a great guess too.
No,
that's a great guess because that would have fit everything.
This man is he's a native New Jerseyer as well, from the Great Garden State.
Great Garden State.
Oh my God. I'm about damn giving up. Let's take a look at Twitch. I don't know if they have anything. Let's see. Oh, we have 2 guesses from Twitch. We have Al Leiter.
It is Al Leiter.
Oh,
Tom's River's own. My next clue is going to be his son has been in the news a lot recently. Yes, this is Al Leiter.
Wow. So
broadcaster for the team, or for at times not anymore. Now with MLB Network.
Shout out to Yankee 63 to get that right.
I have a pretty good Al Leiter story if you guys got time for
Let's go. Al Leiter story from Jake Montgomery.
So a couple of summers ago, when we used to do live broadcasts before, COVID ruined everything, Michael Kay had a big beach bash on the Jersey Shore. That was like one of his bigger events every year. It was a live broadcast from Martell's Tiki Bar. Hundreds of people would show up. It was always a great time. So that specific summer, leading into the broadcast, there was a big challenge between Don LaGreca and Al Leiter, where Al Leiter was going to throw a wiffle ball and try to strike out Don. And Don kept saying, I can get a hit. I can get a hit.
I remember this.
Yeah. So 20 minutes before that segment happened, Ryan Hurley, who's the program director of 98.7, came up to me. He's like, Jake, I need a favor from you. I'm like, what's going on, Ryan? He goes, we need a catcher for this segment. So I'm like, you know what? Like, I played baseball growing up. I can handle this. We get down to the beach where Al Leiter is, warming up. This dude is throwing like 90-mile-per-hour fastballs with a wiffle ball, bro. They're just hitting off my body left and right. The wind is blowing like crazy. I look like Gary Sanchez out there trying to stop the baseballs. But, yeah, so when I think of Al Leiter, I just think of, 90-mile-per-hour wiffle balls slamming across my body while Don's swinging and missing. But, yeah, it was definitely – that's like another just cool moment that you get to do when you work in this industry, and I'll never forget, simple stories like that. So
that is a great story, and only a sight to see LaGreca swing a bat. I mean, that's a rare. Somebody's got to get that on video. I mean, that's incredible.
It is.
I think there was a video.
Yeah, they broadcasted it on the Michael Kay show. But the funny thing is the wind was so strong on the beach that like Leiter just kept like throwing it and the wind just kept taking it. So to be fair, even though Don was swinging and missing, there weren't many strikes, which made it a lot harder for the catcher who was like just going all over the place. And I didn't want to look like I couldn't catch a wiffle ball. But when the winds are strong and Al Leiter's throwing his fastball, there's not much that I could do about it. But he's another really good dude. And his son, as you mentioned, is supposed to be, one of these top guys coming out of college. And I think that from the stuff that I've seen, he looks like he's going to be an ace for a team for sure.
Jack looks phenomenal. I'm almost jealous that the Yankees didn't have a piss poor season last year to take a stab at a guy like Jack for the draft. But we have some heck of a draft class. I mean, coming out of the Vanderbilt alone, I mean, it's going to be a wild time to be one of those teams like the Pirates or the Rangers or the Tigers to grab one of those guys. It's going to be incredible to see off a baseball note. But yeah, Jack Leiter, something special over there with Al's son. But yes, Jake Montgomery, not pitching star Jordan Montgomery, who's joined us here on Savage in the Bronx. We loved having you on. We're going to let you go. But before we let you go, Jake, is there anybody you want to shout out? Family members, friends, colleagues? Go for it, pal.
I feel like I would not be doing my duty if I didn't shout out Jordan Montgomery. But on a real note, it was great seeing you, Rich. It's been a while. Tom, it was definitely nice meeting you as well. I hope the Yankees can continue the success that they've had over the last, couple of weeks, not even just 6 games. I think that over the last, month or so, they've really stepped up their game. I think every year that this is going to be the year where they win another World Series, but so far, I really do think they have what it takes to win another one. And for a Yankees fan, it's been a long time. So I do hope that this is the year. I think it would be great for the city, especially, all that we've gone through over this last year and a half with the world kind of being turned upside down. But I do think that the Yankees certainly have what it takes, and I'm excited for the rest of the season. And I did tweet this out as well. It got a lot of traction because it kind of opened up a lot of people's eyes. The July schedule for the Yankees is absolutely brutal. They haven't even played the Red Sox yet. I feel like they've played the Rays, the Blue Jays, and the Orioles like 3 times each, and they haven't played the Red Sox yet, which is weird. But if you look at that July schedule, I'm telling you, they played the Red Sox, then they have the All-Star break, then they played the Astros, the Rays, the Astros, the Rays, the Phillies. It is tough, and it'll be nice if they're in good shape going into that July, where if they do have a couple of bad series, because it's kind of bound to happen, it would be nice to be, 10, 15 games over 500 at that point, instead of having to, chase back to getting to 500. So if you look at that July schedule, I'm telling you, you want to keep winning these games in May and June, because July, it's going to be tough.
Absolutely. It's going to be an interesting season for this 2021 team that's had so much promise. And just like Jake, man, you got to follow Jake at Jake Montgomery. Again, 0 at the beginning of the Montgomery. But you can just type in Jake Montgomery, you can find the guy. But Jake, we wish you the best of luck with everything with ESPN, and keep pumping out those tweets, man. They are pure fire. I actually also forgot to mention your Corey Kluber, DJ LeMahieu no-hitter tweet was phenomenal. Absolutely hilarious stuff.
Well, thank you for the kind words, and I hope I can join you guys again soon. Talk some more Yankee baseball. It's been fun, and I hope you guys have a great rest of the baseball season. But I'm sure I'll talk to you before that. So,
absolutely, Jake. You got it. We'll see you for another show. Let's go Yankees.
Let's go Yanks. Have a good one, guys.
Take care, Jake. Jake Montgomery, and he was on the point because I did pull up that July schedule. That July schedule is pretty lit, like the kids like to say. And finishing off the series with the Angels, which is, obviously Angels stink. But then you got the Mets. Then you got the Mariners, who have been, middle of the pack. Houston, you got the All-Star break. So far, not bad going into that All-Star break. Then you got the Red Sox for 4, the Phillies for 2. Then they're on the road, Red Sox for 4 again, Tampa for 3. And they wrap up the month against the Marlins, who've played exceptional ball over the last couple of seasons. I don't know how good or bad they've been, but yeah, it's a pretty wild schedule for those Yankees in July. So hopefully they can keep this momentum going into June, and we'll see. We'll hope for the best from this team, man.
We shall. We shall. Yeah, it'd be good to have a bit of a lead if we can get a little bit of a cushion going into that. Just to tread water at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. And you got to think also by that time, trade deadline's looming, and maybe to get over the hump on some of these teams, that's when the big move is going to happen. So it's going to be wild to see what happens in the rest of the 2021 season. But so far, we're loving what this team has been doing. They had a tough, April. They've turned it around. We're going to get into the state of the Yankees and more, our updated state, that is, in our new edition of 9 Up, 9 Down for next Monday's show. So we are going to be live for Memorial Day. So guys, I hope you enjoy your Memorial Day weekend coming up. And after you put down some hot dogs and hamburgers and whatever people do on Memorial Day weekend, go down to fucking DJs. I don't know. Come over to Savage in the Bronx on Twitch, 8 p.m. Eastern time. As always, we'll be here for you to celebrate the holiday and talk more Yankees baseball. Tom, anybody you want to thank?
I was gonna say, I was gonna thank Jake for coming on, being a great guest, and hopefully he'll be back on with us soon.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jake, and good luck with everything, bud. And again, his Twitter, absolute fire. Got to give it a follow. Want to thank all my Twitch viewers, all our Twitter followers, all our supporters, our family members, our friends who support this thing we do every Monday at 8 o'clock p.m. At 11 episodes in, Tom. It's been a great ride so far, but we'll see you here next week for episode number 12. Take care.